Hey everybody, it is Captain Britten here with an epic card crafting guide for World of Myths. So we're going to go through each mythology and I will pick my top 3 cards that I would craft and kind of talk about some of the others as well. We'll just start at neutral, go all the way to Mesoamerican. Egyptian mythology is coming. But I will review that set as a whole and just see what all comes in it. There will also be cards for each mythology that are coming out, and we'll just see what those are. But for the first pick out of these 7 neutral cards, it has to be Wolfsbane's Drop. Now, unfortunately, I don't remember if this was a card that's given to everybody, just for entering as part of your your starter deck. If it is, then I'm not really going to count it, but definitely Wolfsbane's Drop is by far the best one out of all these cards. So we'll put that one aside. It's very good. I think you have it. I don't think I need to tell you why it's good, because endurance, this could be, there's so many uses for it. You can play it on your defense, you can play it on your turn to make room for your attack, so on and so forth. The second one out of all of these, I would say Windcaller Griffin, Watchful Lamassu, the Troll, the Militant. I would say they are better than Black Luck, but the only reason why I would pick Black Luck to craft next over all of these cards is because it is more versatile. You can use it almost in every deck and it's going to do the job and be successful. So what Black Luck does, it makes a sheep, and you put it as to the right of target enemy unit, and in all of your opponent's units will have -1 while in battle. You can play this on your attack to make sure that they lose 1 power when they're defending. You can play it on your defense to make them have less attack coming at you. You could just play it on your turn and then pass, and they have to now deal with it. Furthermore, it will come exhausted, so they can't trigger it their next turn. They can kill it by other means, but they can't immediately kill it from triggering it to participate in battle. So it only has 1 endurance. But there are ways you could try to keep this thing alive, and it could really mess up your opponent. Sorry, I gotta have my coffee. It's very, very good. Which before we get into the third pick, which you may have already guessed what it is, there is a detail in all of my videos. It's not the background, because that changed, and it's not me because I'm in every video, and it's not my shirt, which sometimes is consistent, sometimes I change like this. I don't know if I've worn this shirt, but I'm also not showing what's on the shirt. Not intentionally, just because of how I'm sitting on this exercise ball. But there are other details that are consistent throughout most videos, and if you guess it, you will get a reward. It's something. I won't give much of a hint right now, unless somebody doesn't get it for like 2-3 weeks. Then I will probably give a hint. But yeah, there's a detail that is part of the webcam that you can see about me that shows up in most videos, and if you can guess what it is and what it is hinting at, then you will get a reward. For our third neutral card, it will be Artful Dodger. I think this is another great card, mainly because let's clear this, and if you look at the cannot be targeted by cards, there's this one in neutral. There's this Fox, which is a 1/2 for 3, which is the same cost. This is a 2/1. Norse, you have a, where is it? You have a 4 cost 2/2, and then you have this 3 cost 3/1 in Japanese, and you don't have one in Mesoamerican. Thought you did. Never mind. So you either have a 3 cost 2/1, a 3 cost 1/2, a 4 cost 2/2, or a 3 cost 3/1. Now, in terms of being, this one does have a downside, which is it has minus 2 power when there are 3 or more enemy units, which is something you kind of can control, but not really. So in terms of units that cannot be targeted, this is one of the better ones, mainly because they can go in any deck. And I would say the Norse one is the next best because it's the only one. No, it's not the only one. It has 2 endurance. The Greek one has 2 endurance, but it's 1 power, and I think that would be, if you're going to play one, you might as well have power over endurance, and that is because you can gain endurance. You can gain power too, but I think Artful Dodger is the better epic out of these 7. Solely because, just like Wolfsbane's drop in Blackluck, they can go in any deck, and they will be a good contribution to that deck. They might not be the best contribution, but they will be a good contribution. Troll is great. The Dryhill Troll. But it requires you to have a beast deck. Faith Militant, also good. Requires you to have a priest deck. Windcaller Griffin, it's almost good. It is a great defensive card. There's a good reason why it is epic. But the problem is it readies every other unit, including your opponents. So this requires you to, it's a good answer to specific scenarios, such as like Greek when they're exhausting everything. It's a great counter to Greek decks, but it just doesn't, I don't see this fitting in other decks, is my reasoning for it. Watchful Lamassu, again, great defensive card, but I think it really only goes in Athena. Probably just Athena. So, on to Greek. What are my top 3 picks for Greek? Again, same logic. If it works great for 1 leader, it is most likely not going to make my top 3 list, because cards that can go in any deck, I think, are your better cards to craft. If you want a specific leader and want to make a deck like that, craft that specific card. If you're going for versatility and trying to use every leader, then you want the cards that can do multiple things, and I would say these are the better cards to craft initially, but if you want a specific leader, by all means do that. One example is, I think Corinthian Phalanx is great epic in Ares, and that's about it. But if you want an Ares deck, you need him. Or rather, if you want a good Ares deck, you should probably have him, because he, at the start of every turn, he will gain power if he's on your left, because you want to put him on your left, so that Ares triggers, and then he will give 1 power to the unit on the right, and so you'll gain 3 power at the start of the turn if you have 2 units, which is the ideal circumstance that happens in. But as far as my actual top 3 picks, is going to be one of these, and I think the first one is the Stoic Spartan. When he's declared as a defender, remove all enemy units with higher power from battle. Now, if you have Helpless, which is a neutral 1-cost spell that target unit loses 2 power, you can just ridiculously stop attack decks, or any attacker, just because he can block. He will lose the endurance, so you have to keep his endurance up and keep him alive. But he solves a lot of issues. He can essentially stall out your opponent just ridiculously good. So, it goes in every Greek deck. Goes better in some, but I think he goes well in every Greek deck. As well as Swamp Hydra. Swamp Hydra, I don't know which one is better out of these two, but Swamp Hydra is a more aggressive, more offensive card. Stoic Spartan is a more defensive card. Swamp Hydra gains 1 power when you're losing endurance. So it's a 6-cost 3/3, which is mostly good stats, because you're paying 1 face essentially for a power and an endurance across the board. But then it has the potential to gain more power, and it has potential to keep its endurance by playing other cards. And you can gain power in other ways. So this is super good. You can play it on your defense, it'll boost its attack, then immediately use it as for attacking. There's so many uses for Swamp Hydra. I might craft it first out of all of these, actually. But these top three aren't any in specific order. They're just my three top picks. Sharon, Zeus only, practically. Then you either have Summer Heat or Thermopylae Tactics. Or this one was kind of a tough pick. Oracle of Delphi and Sharon, not so great. They're both good, but So I think you're gonna have to go with Thermopylae Tactics to be the next top three pick in terms of versatility. Medusa is also great, and this Hydra, I think it's a Hydra, or maybe it's just Giant Snake, is also not bad. But Thermopylae Tactics, exhaust your strongest unit, kill target attacking enemy unit. Again, if you see kill on any non-Norse card, probably a good card. Probably. And this is a great example of that. You get to kill an enemy unit that is attacking. You could kill the Swamp Hydra, you can kill super high-powered creature, super high endurance card. You just get to kill it for 4 magicka, and all you have to do is exhaust your strongest unit. And it can be any unit. If you only have one with 1 power or 0 power, that's your strongest unit. You can exhaust it. So your fresh recruit could come around to be very useful here. So just throwing that out there. I think Swamp Hydra followed by Thermopylae Tactics and Stoic Spartan are my top 3 picks. Again, if you are building a specific leader or deck like Ares, you would want him over, I don't know about over, but over those other cards, but you would want that card. So for Norse, I would say definitely You Died. You Died is the top pick for all of the Norse cards. You do get one, so it kind of counts in that it's the card crafting guide, but there's argument that you maybe don't craft this because you already get one. I mean, you need the other one, but if we had to put You Died aside and pick 3 others, not in any particular order, I think Valkyrie Commander is going to be one of them. Because in Norse decks, you are playing mostly aggro. Mostly. Even with Freya, Valkyrie Commander is going to be useful. Because when a friendly unit dies, you're going to this will happen just by playing the dang game. You will reduce this unit's cost by 1 when a friendly unit dies, and your units are naturally going to die. Whether your opponent's controlling you down, whether you're attacking and you lose endurance, whether you're defending and lose endurance. The only thing is you got to have this in your hand for it to actually go down. That's the downside with it. But it's 5-1, which is overcosted, but if you get this down to 3, perfect. If you get down to 6, I think it's a good card. Because then it kind of turns into Thundering Vikings, which is my next pick, which is gain 1 endurance when you summon a Viking. You do kind of have to build around him, and you probably want to play Thundering Vikings with another Viking card. That way he comes down as a 5-2, and he can just be instantly removed by your opponent. Which is where Valkyrie Commander is kind of a downside, is there's not quick ways to boost her endurance. But you could play this for 0. Like, you could back to dust, wipe the board, play that, play a bunch of Vikings, and your board is now filled, and you have a 5-1 on the board. So if you get this down to 0, probably did pretty good. So, Valkyrie Commander's Thundering Vikings, definitely craft this one in the Norse deck. Your third pick, there's a variety of cards. I thought Trial by Fire, but I haven't been able to see a good use of this card. Or rather, haven't been able to see it used well. Because I've seen it used, but it's never... Like, it's super good if you can get your friendly units to have more than 1 endurance, and then you give them all units for, 2 power, and then you attack with those units. I think that is the ideal situation with Trial by Fire, but you have to have more than 1 endurance, and most Norse cards and how Norse decks work, you're going to be having just 1 endurance. If you're in Freya, or even Loki, probably just Freya, I think this would be a much better card, but in terms of utility, I couldn't go with it. So I had to go with Knock. Tempting Spa is also good, but Knock I think is super good because you're playing aggro. Either you're boosting your attack via the temples, or you just play Thundering Vikings followed by Knock, or you play Valkyrie Commander followed by Knock, and you just get to play 6 costs and you have 5-1 or 5-2. Much better than Thundering Vikings and Valkyrie Commander just because of the stats. Now the downside with this is there's so many ways to silence or reset the power, and that's your downside with Knock. But overall, I think Knock is a good epic to craft for Norse. Furthermore, or in addition, Japanese, we kind of already mentioned Shiro Uneri, but he will definitely, or it, the dragon, will definitely make the cut because you can't target it. It comes down as 3-1, which is super, super high. Comes with the downside of it has -2 power where there are 3 or more enemy units. And it only has 1 endurance, but you have Amaterasu, which would give this a endurance just because it's got a trait. You have Susanoo, who could give it endurance. And you have Hachiman can't give it an endurance, but Tsukuyomi could. No, it can't. Never mind. Susanoo and Amaterasu can give Shiro Uneri an endurance. The other decks you can give an endurance in various ways. But definitely a good card, and it's one that in Susanoo decks just wrecks your opponent. As far as the next pick, I think you have to go with Ring of Fire. It's a curse. Enemy flank units lose a power, or lose 1 power and 1 endurance. Your leader loses 1 health. So you get to potentially, you would hit 2 units, 2 of your opponent's units, to lose 1 endurance and 1 power. So essentially, this is ideally, it's a spell that makes 2 enemy units lose a power and endurance. That you're making your opponent lose 2 endurance and 2 power, probably killing 2 units if played right, or at least severely wounding your opponent's board, and you only lose 1 health. That's pretty much better in almost every circumstance than you died, because you died only affects 1 and you lose 1 health. Here with Ring of Fire, you have the potential to kill 2 units, and you only lose 1 health for the same faith. So, definitely a very good card. Thirdly, we have, I don't know how you quite say this, slashing, climbing, and drinking Kamachi? Maybe? We'll go with it. Or otter, because this thing looks like or ferret. It just looks really, really cool. This is a super powerful card. I'm pretty sure drinking ferret is another 2-1, but you get to play 5. 5 costs. There's no way to prevent deaths there from happening. Is there? I don't think there's many ways to prevent deaths there. If there is, they're not in abundance. So, assuming deaths there actually will trigger, you get to play this for 5. Your next turn you can attack with it. It will die. You get to bring this one, which is another 2-1, with Rush, that you can immediately attack with, depending on when it is summoned. Then your next one, I don't remember if it has a Rush or what drinking is. I wish I could see. But, essentially it's another 2-1. So for 5 cost, you will get 3 2-1 bodies. Now that is just super good. I mean, you have the Norse of Storm the Shores, which is put 3 for Raiders on the board, which is 3 1/2s. So it's just the opposite of that. And it takes a bit. It's on 3 separate units that come at 3 separate times. Still really, really good. As far as your other ones, they're good. I'm not saying any of these are bad. Reflection of Yato no Kagami, I'm curious. I have not seen this one yet. So maybe this is a better one. but I don't think it can beat these three in terms of do you craft it first, but I think there's specific instances where that would be very good. If you run a samurai deck, this is great. If you run a ninja deck, this is great. Same with this, good samurai deck. But in terms of versatility, I would say probably you put these three in almost every Japanese deck. Just because they're really, really good. Mesoamerican, our last mythology for epics. Again, has the same number. First one, definitely, if you saw my battle with Tritos, it is life for life. This is almost your last gasp to survive. You sacrifice target friendly unit to set your leader's current health to 8 if you sacrifice the captive unit that gives you 1 extra health, or sacrifice another unit that restores more health to your leader. It will go up above 8. It'll start at 8 and then it'll go up. Definitely a lifesaver, and your opponent, if they're a good opponent, will know you have this card and will kind of plan on it, and they'll force you to play the card. But that's totally fine. I would say must include in every Mesoamerican deck. As far as your other ones, this one was kind of difficult because Keeper of the Calendar, great for Great Goddess, not really anything else. The Captive Macaw, kind of good for Great Goddess, not as much. Macabre of the South, not great. I don't know, not too great. But I would say Sanguine Avatar is your next pick. Oh yeah, just build. Sanguine Avatar has additional power equal to your leader's missing health. So let's just quickly go look at the Mesoamerican leader's health. This one, Queso has 10, Bulak has 12, Tazcat has 10, and Great Goddess has 8. Great Goddess, the most that Sanguine Avatar could have is plus 7 power, which would be a 7 cost 7/3. That is the best case scenario for Great Goddess. The best case scenario would be, right, Bulak? Yeah, Bulak, because this is 10, yeah. Would be Bulak Chaptan. If he's at 1 health, that would come down as a 7 cost 11/3. That's not even the best case with this. If you are using Grandpa, Dietco, and the most you could have is 13/3 or 13 power and 3. That is all at the end of life. So, is this actually that good? It is a great defensive card. It's got 3 endurance. That is ridiculous. Even if this has 1 power, 1 power kind of sucks. Let's go with 4 power. Your leader's half dead. Kind of half dead if you're using the weakest one that you could. This is a 7 cost 4/3. That is perfect. If you get any more power, any more missing health, this is great. And if you are running Bulak, not Tazcat, Bulak, where he loses health at the start of your turn, I think Sanguine Avatar would be a great game changer. So, maybe even the first pick, but Life for Life and Sanguine Avatar are like ridiculously high on this tier list, and the others are kind of a bit lower. Just because those 2 cards are so good. And I think your next one has to be Desperate Ritual. For the same reason as Sanguine Avatar. And I think this one has the potential to be better, but it requires you to set it up and not get screwed over by your opponent. Because you sacrifice all friendly units to put this on your right flank. Really, it's the only creature. And then you give it the combined power of all units sacrificed. So, and it's technically only 3 costs, but the spell is 6. So to make this worth it, you would need to sacrifice units enough to get this power up to 3, and it'd be a 3/3. Now, there are ways to get it higher, but that would say I would be the bare minimum that you want to play this, is have friendly units whose power equals 3, and then, or totals up to 3, and then you play this. Downside is your opponent, this is the reason why this card is not that good, is because you're taking multiple units that have been established on your board and you're combining it into one. So you're taking multiple threats and putting them all on one creature. And so you only have one threat that your opponent has. There's many ways to deal with one threat. There's not many ways to deal with multiple threats. So in terms of aggro, not the best card, but still a good card. I don't think this is a bad card. I don't really think any of these epics have been a bad card, but these would be 5. This would be a 4 out of 5 rank if I were to rank them, but I'm not really getting into that. We're just talking about good cards and their utility and such. So that is going to be it. Those are my top 3 picks for all of the epics. Egyptian will get there eventually. These rankings might change once Egyptian comes out. Maybe. But another thing, my casual tournament is starting on Monday, February... What is the date? February 10th is when my casual tournament is starting. If you want to participate, the rules of it are going to be in the Discord. I'll also have a webpage of it. It will be linked below. And essentially it is on your own time tournament, meaning I'll set up the brackets, you'll be matched up with an opponent. You can either match up with them by sitting in the queue and ranked, or you can go into tournament and you create a tournament with whoever you pick, type your opponent and such. So let's just go ahead and kind of show an example. Make the entry fee free. If it's not, you should not. You can click this button or not. Format, you could do Swiss or direct eliminations, but as long as you play best of 3 matches, you can also leave the tournament. Oh, come on. And it doesn't matter when the start time is, because once another opponent shows up, you can just hit play and you hit start, you start the tournament, and then you go. And whenever this is finished, or rather whoever wins best 2 out of 3 matches will move forward. And all you gotta do is you'll be paired with an opponent. You coordinate with them via the Discord or however you want to, and play your match. You screenshot either this result, you screenshot the final move, and also you come screenshot this to see the latest game of I beat so and so, and then you submit those to me and post results, and you move forward. Furthermore, when you enter, you will pick a mythology, and that will be your mythology for the whole tournament. This will be known to other players. When you are matched with an opponent, you will ban one of their leaders, and then they cannot use that leader for the duration of your 3 matches, potentially 3 matches. Your best 2 out of 3 matches. Your next opponent will ban a different leader, and then you can use your other 3 leaders. Say they ban Ares, you can use Poseidon for all 3 of your matches. If you play actually 3, you can win with all 2 of your matches with Poseidon, or you can win them all 3 with Athena. You can stick to a specific leader. You just will have one banned that you cannot use for that match. So there are other rules, but that's a generic overview of how things are going to work. If things change, look at the link that is below. Follow me on Discord, or not follow me, but talk to me in the Discord and so forth. And yeah, I hope to see you guys in the tournament. I hope you enjoyed this epic card crafting guide, and if you have missed out on this tournament that I'm just now talking about, there will be others. When this tournament finishes, I will immediately start another one. So there will always be a tournament going on. There will always be weekly contests going on some way or another. Just ask me, hop in the Discord, hop in the Facebook group, hop in the Reddit group, follow me on Twitter. There are ways that you will be able to participate in the community. So, thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe if you have not, and we'll see you guys next time.